welcome to my little escapade. This is Raul once again. Today I'm gonna talk about which is the best DSLR to start with. When you're a beginner, you're confused. You don't know which camera to buy, which equipment to get, and that was one of the toughest things for me. So I started with my very first DSLR was a Canon T7i of the Rebel series. It was a pretty good camera just for photos. It had a 12 megapixel sensor, but it was kind of slow. The buffer was really slow, and the only way you could take fast pictures was if you turned off the display and just use the viewfinder. Therefore, I kept it for a couple of years. I didn't use it that much because I wasn't that into photography. The main reason I had bought that camera was because I got married and it was cheaper to buy that camera than to hire a photographer. So we just gave the camera to my uncle, and then he was in charge of taking the pictures. But later on, a few months ago, I decided to get in full with photography, and I ended up buying the Canon T6i after doing much research about cameras and whatnot. I bought the Canon T6i video maker or video package, which included a Rode mic and an SD card on it, and it was a really good camera. Even though now I go back and I'm like, maybe I should have just went straight for the 80D, and I should have bought that camera. I don't regret the decision because the Canon T6i was very easy to use camera, and it gave me what I needed at the moment. But now Canon has some new cameras in the Rebel series called the Canon T7i and the Canon 77D. And the funny thing is that they launched those like one month after I bought my T6i. So I was like really disappointed. I just bought the T6i and they launched the 7i and the 77D, which are way better cameras than the T6i and the T6s. Which camera I'm recommending if you're beginning with photography? Well, if you want that all-in-one camera that's good for mostly anything, I definitely recommend the Canon Rebel series, the Canon 7i and the Canon 77D. Why? Those cameras are very easy to use, and the new Canon T7i even features a mode which basically guides you through the process of setting up your camera in manual mode, and you can learn the basics straight from the camera. And also the Canon interface is really easy to use when compared to the Nikon. I've only held a Nikon once or twice in my hands, and I just don't like the interface. I think it's too complicated, and that Canon is much more user-friendly. The Canon T7i and the 77D have the same features. The only difference is that the 77D is marketed towards a more professional crowd than the T7i. The 77D features a dial, an additional dial on the right, and it has an LCD screen on the top, so you can see and change your settings without having to look and touch at the screen, which can save some battery at sometimes. The T7i, on the other hand, is very easy to use. It has a pretty much generic layout, which is very easy to use and navigate with. So if you're getting your very first DSLR, I would definitely go with a T7i. You can save a few $100, and by buying that option and that'll, it'll get you that the T7i body only is like $749. The 77D is $849, and the most popular 80D, it's around the $900 to $1,000 body only. And I'm gonna read you some specs for the T7i and the 77D from the page. It has a 24 megapixel sensor with dual pixel autofocus. That means that if you're moving or your subject is moving, the camera will track it pretty well. It also has 45 autofocus points, which are all cross-type face detect autofocus systems. It means that the camera will identify the face and track it, therefore making it easier and keeping always your subjects in focus. It has a Digic 7 processor, which is better at capturing those colors and processing those images. It has a 3-inch fully articulating screen, which you can tilt and pan and whatever. And also the 77D has a top LCD for shooting information. And it has dual control dials. The T7i does not. Both of the cameras feature a 7 frame per second continuous shooting and 1080p 60 frame per second with microphone input. That's very important if you're using your camera not only for taking great pictures but also for blogging or for shooting videos. The 77D and the T7i are also great options, and that may adjust to your budget. If I were gonna buy a camera right now, a DSLR, I would buy the 80D, because on top of all those features that I read, it has a faster continuous shooting frame per second, and also it is weather sealed. The 77D and the T7i are not weather sealed. And also the 80D has more options in order to adjust your autofocus system in the camera according to the lens. The 77D and the T7i do not feature those options. These cameras are great, and honestly, if I could get my hands on one of them, it will be pretty cool. They are great cameras, and they have excellent low light performance, and it's a world of options that you have when you choose one of these cameras. Honestly, I think that if you're buying your very first camera, you should go straight to the T7i. It is very easy to use. It is a very familiar setup. It's fast, it's durable, it's rough. Even though it's not weather sealed, the camera is, it's rough. It will withstand some strong movements. And also, the ease of use. When you're taking a picture, you don't want to start mumbling and fumbling around the settings. You want to have your settings ready to go. Take your pictures and go, and don't miss your special moments with it. If you are already familiar with the T7i and you're looking for an upgrade, I would go straight to the 80D. Skip the 77D and go to the 80D. The 80D will give you the same settings as the 77D, but much more. You get a faster buffer rate. You get the same 45 autofocus, all cross type, and you get an awesome viewfinder, which is a digital viewfinder, which is very accurate, and it's really helpful when you're out there taking your pictures. So yes, that's basically it. I hope that you enjoy this video and that you find it helpful. Please press the like button and share it if you find it useful, and please subscribe. Thank you for watching.